Okay, welcome to episode 5 of Abundance. I want to just talk again about the Pyrheliometer. This was a device that I believe is a holographic burner. I talked about it more in a previous video, and I'll provide links to this von Nostrand's engineering magazine. But what I wanted to emphasize or repeat, just to get the point across with this, is that we possibly have our lost history encoded or burned on gemstones, holographic data. So it just good idea to save any type of gemstones, no matter what kind of value that they have, as long as like they're antique or can trace back their chain of ownership, I guess, back into the 1800s or earlier. And even I know with the values of the prices of gold and silver, people may be wanting to sell their jewelry. I understand, but definitely see if you can save gemstones if it's like antique jewelry, because even a little shard of or splinter or fragment of it, if these theoretically contain holographic data, just a little bit of it, um, fragment of it, you could re- recreate the holographic data. So there could be all kinds of things hidden in plain sight that we were don't even know about. Excuse me. The other thing, so what I want to talk about today more is about time and the emphasis that the people coming into America in the 1800s made on the taking over the watchmaking factories. And I believe these watchmaking factories were part of the antediluvian or the world before the last reset. Some and what I'm finding here is a lot of things were happening in the 1800s. So uh, the Waltham watch factory, which I'm going to talk about, this is kind of the basic timeline here, where the factory's peak time was in the during the Civil War, but prior to that, the guy who owned it, Mr. Dennison, he said that within 20 years, the manufacture of watches would be reduced to a system as perfect and expeditious as the manufacture of firearms. It was a huge push, and I'll show you what I mean. And Dennison, he was a Freemason, carried the Mason's hod at 10 years old, which is a like a trowel, rectangular trowel thing to mix up mortar and masonry. The thing to emphasize why they wanted to take over the watchmaking factories, and there was many of them, and the, this is so foreign to a lot of people, I think, but back then few people cared for the minutes of time in domestic timepieces, still fewer for the seconds, meaning people wanted watches just with the hour hand. Like I don't need the minutes. Like, as the hour hand moves, it's close enough, type of thing. Because the minutes and the seconds, those are separate movements and probably all kind of extra costs to and complexity and points of failure. Um, the modern ideas were undeveloped of synchronized clocks, of observatory time signals, of swift trains, of banking hours and stock exchanges, in which seconds were of high financial value. So this whole idea, time is money, you know, um, was just foisted upon the entire world. The Let's continue on here. Yeah, the great public were unfamiliar with the modern business competition and consequence necessity for extreme uniformity of time. They today, it's like so hard to imagine a world where you're just like the hours of the day, like the day is hours, the hours of the day only, not minutes and seconds. uh and so much of our computer systems and phones and everything else are need to have synchronized clocks to function correctly. And then this article by Dr. Waldo. Where's Waldo? Because he's all over the map in a lot of the different pieces, time frames. Uh, he references different quotes, different people talking. It's like a hack job. The whole article. It's hard to. Anyway, I'm not a English major, so anyway, hard to follow. But here, the library, the guild hall of the library of the clockmakers. So they've got all kinds of documents there, or at least he wrote about them here back in the 1886. This document, but the when I read this, he's like in a report of a committee of the guild.
A secret report within the guild.
And this clockmakers company, they go way, way back. This is Worshipful Company of Clockmakers. They were given a royal charter way back in 1631. So this effort has been in going on for a long time and of high priority to the City of London folks, where this Clockmakers Museum originally was, and then it moved, I believe, or maybe it's still in City of London, but it moved in 2015. But it's been there since 1631, and it was, or in one, or no, the museum or Clockmakers Museum original location was established in 1814. Wow. So yeah, I wonder what lies underneath those archives. And the clockmakers, they are the Saturn people, because this their motto here, Tempus Rerum Imperator, time, the ruler of all things. So, and that was the push of this so much. But let me go back to the watchmakers factories that they've taken over, and there are so many. I'm going to be talking about the Waltham one. That's what the documentation I have, but there's just huge numbers of these all over the United States, just and massive. Some of the structures. This one was huge. Where's the and the last? What was the last? Oh yeah, this one in Wichita. Wichita. Yeah. So this one was. It's just the skeleton. Nothing's left of it, but they're saying, oh, it's being built. So huge effort that they put forth. And in the Waltham one, they describe all this belting and shafting. This isn't the Waltham facility, but factory. But I'll come back to this. This is the Waltham site. They show some more of their history here with the buildings, the line. Oh, look, things have changed here. They're not showing the. Oh yeah, here. This is the line shaft. And they had They had all kinds of automated machinery as well. Like this had to be amazing to watch. This was an automated watch, or it automated the creation of some of the movements inside watches. All the pulleys and belting here. This was all line shafting driven by steam engine. I mean, in the factory. I don't know about here. And they also had it was very advanced also on how they measured time, how they were synchronizing everything. They had waterproof. Okay, let me go back to the description of this factory. But what the thing I also want to kind of bring up is that I believe this watchmaking factory was a remnant of the old world, the previous, before the last reset in the 1800s. It was much more of a community cooperative type of structure, and you'll see what I mean. Like the lines of cast and the mechanical arts were very loosely drawn. Like today we have, well, you have to have a mechanical engineer and electrical engineer or electrician, and all the specialized licensed arts or craftsmen now have to go through so many years of training and things like that in their walled gardens of 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 skill. And patents are cheap and quickly obtained. This was another big push uh, to take over the patent system, to lock up innovation and to for licensing and everything else. But the I'll continue on some of these foreign ideas, but just the idea that your watch only had hours. It's just so strange. The Guildhall, okay. And then yeah, he keeps talking about the committee of the Guildhall. In 1867, this Royal Robbins guy, he buys it. He buys the Waltham factory. And here they're going into the discussion of the environment there. But the machinery was built and paid for, so nothing leased or no debt. The great questions of getting homogeneous raw materials raw material, of learning the capacities of machines, of determining what kind of labor, whether of boys or girls or men or women, was most efficient in any given department had been settled. So this is his stance on this. Like when you think of like a factory and then you hear boys or girls, you have this image come forth from our program conditioning that, oh, they were they were, child labor, harsh conditions. They were stuck at a workbench, or 8-10 hours a day, pee in the bucket next to you, no bathroom break or something. I don't know. No, that wasn't like that at all. I'll show you here. So it'll become more clear. The machine shop that they're talking about with all that shafting and workbenches, at its height here, it had 3.5 miles of workbenches, 5 acres floor space. It was all powered by a single 125 horsepower coreless steam engine, 39,000 feet of belting, 10,600 feet of main shafting. So like that's almost 2 miles of shafting. And here he's like, the number of operations, many of them accomplished by automatic machinery, which is quote unquote tended by a young woman or man having no special knowledge of horology. Horology, the art, craft of watchmaking. So they're describing the American system, interchangeable parts. It means the establishment of working facilities for the entire manufacture. The Everything is made on the premises, not according to the plans or ideas or methods of work of da 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 da. Okay, self-sufficient on-site work. We're not, everything's outsourced now. And he's got to put in here. I got too many red lines, but it is already apparent to you, obviously. Come on, man. All this rhetoric to you that the mastermind of such a company is to be chosen for his general executive qualities and his ability to conduct a manufacturing business rather than his technical knowledge of watches. No, see, because the quality came because the people in charge had the technical knowledge. They were the engineers designing and running the company, and it was some sort of cooperative company of men leading it. But the whole thing with the girls and boys, and men or women, working at different machines, these were families there. They were learning and studying this craft. The supervision was from the fathers and the mothers who were there as families together. And maybe I'm way off, but let's keep going and see. Because we also had so many different skills. There was over 2,500 operatives in this factory in 1884. We had machinists, draftsmen, die sinkers, steelworkers, gilders, enamelers, photographers, and men of many trades. But here he's like, they are exposed to the strictest supervision. Yeah, because there's my son Timmy and my daughter Tammy, and I'm looking at them, I'm watching them pretty constant basis just to make sure they're, everything's going smooth on whatever work or task that they're doing. Um, and this is nothing like, the factories and the today, because everything is geared to squeeze more money, right? Time is money. Squeeze more of that out of everything. So plenty of light, plenty of fresh air, a comfortable warmth pervades. Taken all in all, I believe it is the most intelligent body of operatives in any industry known to me. If it's the most intelligent body of operatives, you should be copying everything they do and taking copious notes and understanding it, instead of saying that you need somebody with executive qualities. Then it wouldn't be the most intelligent body of operatives if you had that type of executive in charge. So all of this stuff that's been built around the factory, it's some sort of co-op where all kinds of different companies of men or cooperatives of different families are coming together, because what is being built here and described is like the life, it's what people want, and that's opposite of the time is money model. So they have every opportunity. We've got libraries, literary clubs, church life, social advantages. We're impressed. They got intelligent taste. They have intelligence taste. That means decent clothes. Doesn't have to be like fine clothes, but just nice, good clothes. And it's interesting, like he's saying they're native born. Oh, this is 1800. So yeah, these were the okay Americans. And so the quality of these watches, I just had some of the photos up here of some of them. Like this one was, well, this is in London, but same type of factory style. The quality of this stuff, unbelievable. Here's a little gemstone. I wonder if there's a hologram burned in here of the engineering schematics, and theoretically a 3D, all 3D, or doesn't have to be. Oh no, that's so impossible. And well, I'm putting the idea out there. Why not? Holograms aren't been around a long time. I guess they are rocket science because of physics. But so we had these amazing watches being constructed. So the homes are made as well as the watches. So just quality. And all of this can only come from a large industrial intelligent, well-fed, and well-paid community. We have parks laid out, cottages, which are both tasteful and healthful. Cottages, kind of like this. I'm thinking these factories were like timeshare type of operations where we could come together and work on complex uh, creations like watches, but all kinds of other things too. We had a amazing meal that this guy got served with. Yeah, he was in there. And this is why they were able to do all this. They're not afflicted with trade notions or customs, thoroughly malleable. Yeah, they're intelligent. They're like, what's going to work? What is going to work best? What's a good idea? A better way of doing things. The disregard of trade laws and customs, like, why do I need a the whole thing, the patent thing. Well, they did have patents, so, but they were easy to obtain. So, now that how much I have no idea what you'd have to go through to get a patent. And the machines are unique. The machines are made on the premises. I mean, complete fabrication is going on here. Very advanced. The class certificates. So I think part of this was they're talking as a certificate as kind of like the quality of the timekeeping of the watch that was made. And they go through all kinds of rigor. They go through a lot of testing on them too, with temperature ratings and stuff. So I think this was actually more like some sort of mark or certificate that the young men and women were obtaining in creating these watches there. and like I said, he jumps around all over the place. Because this was weird. This is the only reference as Mr. Bedford is referred to. But he says the factory and machinery which was there 18 years ago is now all gone. Where did it all go? And he's like, of course, in the present age, 18 years is almost like a century as things change so rapidly. 18 years to clear out, that's a lot of equipment. In fact, and this wasn't the Waltham one he was talking about. I think it was a different one. It's hard to read. It's parse. And then to end this, the question of the watch was really one of national importance. Exactly. The huge push, different scientific, the processes carried out. Yeah, they had everything going on over in the, so much going on. And then here, it was in this direction that the extreme value of meetings like the present, with the committee, secret report of the committee, would be found. For not only did it enable them to see what had to be done, but it furnished the key of the citadel which had to be attacked in the future. It's just the way this stuff is. There's so much in these old magazines and stuff. I mean, a lot of it, there's no like reference to a lot of things as well, meaning, sourced, like where did this come from type of piece. But like today, that where children are all separated from their families and off to school, because I'm thinking about like the emperor has no clothes, right? It's a little girl, a little boy saying the emperor has no clothes, and then everyone like wakes up. So if you're in this situation of like different families and all kinds of different ages and uh, intelligent peoples, then the intelligent boy or the intelligent girl, teenager or younger, that has ideas and say, hey dad, hey mom, wouldn't this work better if we did it this way? And then they're like, oh yeah, we didn't think of that, let's do that. Or let me ask Bob here, he knows this a little better. And Bob's like, oh yeah, let's do that. And because it's the idea, it's like, oh, this makes it better for us, let's go forward with that. But no, if you think about the school, if some kid challenges the status quo, oh no, Timmy, you don't understand, you have to continue school for the next 12 years, get your blah 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 masters whatever in engineering before what you anyone will what and then think about what you just said. It's like, yeah, anyway, the engineering mind doesn't care where the idea comes from. It's like, oh, that's a better way, let's do it. And I'll talk about this in the next episode, I think, or one of them, talking about lighting, because that's another big piece with Edison, my dogs, uh, Edison and his carbon arc light that he got rid of. But we have photographers here, and we had carbon arc welding, because just two sticks of graphite or carbon with enough electrical current creates immense heat that you can arc weld with. But it also produces immense light. So doing uh, like photography against like metal plates that have whatever etching liquid or substance on them, so that when you hit it, it'll get burned in and etched. They also had lighting. They had lime lights that were oxy hydrogen flames, and you just put a small piece of limestone on there, and then it cooked it to quicklime, and it started glowing super bright. Hence the name limelight, because they used them in theaters. I digress. So much stuff in here. This, let me, I went on a tangent, but let me just show you some, this is the history of the Waltham, but one of the things I did want to show was their clock room that they discussed because they had to keep time, and for testing they had a chronograph kept at a like constant temperature device, and then they were keeping time by the transit of certain stars across solar objects transiting across a chronograph. And so that was a constant measure of time, whatever that transit was. So that was your by the stars. That's how they did it, rather than whatever's going on in Colorado with the some ultra low frequency time signal that they put out. Uh, yeah, I can't get a higher quality photo. And this was part of the astronomical clock. Just amazing construction and design, science and physics, astronomy related just to all this watchmaking under one factory building, you know, and the power of the steam engine, and they had one single 125 horsepower steam engine, because you don't need a lot of torque or to for these small operations, like that belt shafting didn't need to have a lot of power behind it, to because of what you were working on. Okay, that's all. That's it for now. So next time I'll talk about maybe the lighting or electricity, or more on the heliostat stuff. But remember, save your old antique gemstones. If you got to melt down the gold for money, I understand, but save the shards. All right, take care, all. Have a good one.